So you're having this crazy emotion, and can you breathe through it, observe it, and you actually can take this practice to other parts of your life.
Welcome to the Healing With It podcast. I'm your host, Kirsten Vandenhoevel. In this podcast, we will be taking on all things health and wellness while making healing more approachable. If you're ready to get real with your health, then let's get started. Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Healing With It podcast. I am so excited for today's episode. It is my second interview episode of the series, and this one I'm super excited about. So last episode, I interviewed Emily Bent, who is one of the co-founders of Othership. But this week, I got to interview Myles Farmer, who is also a co-founder of Othership. And in this episode, you're going to want to stay tuned because we talk all things cold immersion, hot therapy, and all the mental and physical benefits you're going to see from this type of therapy, and where you can go to get this form of therapy right in Toronto. Myles focuses more on the entrepreneurial side of Othership and the physical location in downtown Toronto. He started his journey by opening some of Toronto's most well-known and successful restaurants and nightclubs, but by overcoming his own obstacles, Myles realized that his lifestyle he was leading no longer aligned with his values, and this is what motivated him to work towards Othership. Othership is a physical space and digital platform for shifting states of mind and offering peak experiences that inspire awe and belonging. And let me tell you, you are going to want to stay tuned to this episode. But before we get into the episode, you know I have to do my mindful moment of the week. So I'm going to go through this quickly so we can get right into the episode. My mindful moment of the week was I had a really big practical exam for school this week. As you guys know, I am in naturopathic medical school and I'm transitioning into clinic come May. And so this exam was our entry to clinic exam, which I was so nervous about. But I was actually able to go within myself and stay really calm during the actual exam. Typically, I do not perform well on exams, but especially in exams with practical components, I find that I struggle with this and get so nervous that it takes over my ability to function. But this time, I actually felt calm, collected, and was able to perform at a higher capacity than I usually can. And I'm really proud of myself for that. And so I feel like a lot of my mindfulness work and just working on myself in general with my anxiety and everything has really paid off. And I'm starting to see that in real life situations. So enough about me. Let's move on to today's episode. I'm really excited. And I know you guys are going to enjoy listening to this episode as much as I loved interviewing Myles. So let's get into today's episode. Hi, Myles. How are you doing today?
Been great. Great to be here.
Awesome. I am so excited to have you on the podcast today. I would love to just get started with you telling us a little bit about yourself, who you are, anything you're passionate about.
Yeah, so I've been in Toronto now for 15 years. I'm an entrepreneur. I've been building businesses around the hospitality space. I've had a passion for health and wellness for quite some time. First started out with working out and meditation, and then it shifted towards hot and cold therapy and started off with bathhouses and ended up building my own concept here in Toronto.
Yeah, that's amazing. And so you have actually started Othership with a few other people. I would love if you could just dive into that right away and tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, of course. So we have a 3,000 square foot space with a 50-person sauna, 4 ice baths, and a tea room. And we are essentially a house of transformation, and we're looking to create peak experiences that inspire awe and belonging. And what that means is we really want people to come in and have these experiences that are healthy, both physically and mentally, and doing it in a social and fun way. And so we have 3 offerings. We have free flow, which is coming in on your own time. You have 75 minutes. You have access to the hot and cold. There's guides there that can help you guide you through the hot and cold. We have classes, guided classes. So think about it as what SoulCycle did to cycling, we are doing to the bathhouse. And so we have classes which can be uplifting, kind of down regulated all around. You can expect maybe some stretching, some visualization, some movement, some entertainment, some towel waving. There's really a lot we're developing. And so it's kind of more of a fluid thing happening week to week.
Yeah, so I've been kind of watching you guys on social media, and it is such a completely new experience. Nothing like this in Toronto or anywhere in the Ontario area that I know of. Where did this idea come about?
Yeah, so it's kind of a very an interesting story because there's three different ownership groups and three different stories. So I started this off about 3 years ago. I before this was in the hospitality space. I built a number of restaurants and bars here in Toronto, and my best friend at the time, Robert Bent, actually at the time he got sober and he didn't want to go to these restaurants and bars anymore to drink, and so he was always inviting me to do these bathhouses, specifically one called Southwestern, and we'd go to these bathhouses and have like just an incredible time. You'd feel amazing. You feel really like satisfied that you went out, you met out with friends, and you come home just absolutely like relaxed, calm, and just kind of no desire to go out. And so coming from the hospitality background, I was like, can we create a new social experience around this hot and cold and kind of bring it to the masses? Because a lot of this stuff isn't really known. People are kind of scared of the cold. They really don't understand the heat. They don't understand why they're going into these things for how long.
Right.
But they really do like the feeling. And so at the time, we teamed up and we were looking at building a 15,000 square foot urban bathhouse in the Junction here in Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
It was Rob and I at the beginning, and then we were introduced to Amanda and Harry at the time, who through Rob's aunt was actually hired to help them find their bathhouse. And they were sauna masters from Europe. They were trained in the sauna and performances, and so their background really is developing these amazing experiences in the sauna and kind of creating this magic and taking people through these challenging times. And so when you're going into the heat and you're going into the cold, it's challenging, and you really want to be guided through these things, especially the first time. And so having these these performances and these classes is super essential. So I met Rob and we met Harry and Amanda. We all decided that it was synergistic to kind of team up. And so we started building this bathhouse about 3 years ago. It was right before COVID started. We were almost about to sign a lease, and in March 2020, COVID came. And so it kind of, it killed the idea. The investors walked away. People didn't know what to expect. And so at the time, we thought the idea was over. We built a small test center in my partner's garage. We had one sauna, one ice bath, and we were just running testing to try to build the base community for the Junction. And during COVID, we thought to ourselves, hey, could we do something on a smaller scale? Maybe build more of these studio spaces, 3,000 square feet, self-fund it. And that's kind of how the idea was born for Othership, for what the concept is now. And so we shifted away from this massive bathhouse idea to these more unique studio spaces. 3,000 square feet, we could fit a 50-person sauna. We could do 4 ice baths, a nice, beautiful tea room, and we could run programming and just really specialize in that and kind of get away with all the food and all the other stuff that was from the bathhouse idea.
That's such an amazing story. And I think it's really incredible how the pandemic really shifted that experience. Would you say that you feel like the pandemic really created a more intimate space and something that maybe turned into more of what aligns with your business more?
Yeah, absolutely. When you think about a bathhouse idea, you really, the frequency you would go to the bathhouse or a Nordique spa is probably like once a month, once every 3 months. And so you're
Right.
really not getting a sense of community.
Mm.
So with Othership being, in King West, and we're going to expand locations, is you're coming to this location, you're meeting people that live within that community. And it really is driving friendships, it's driving, this connection with people. You're going back, you're seeing them again. There's a lot of what we've seen in the garage too is people are forming lifelong friendships. They come there, they have this really intimate experience, this challenging experience with someone, and you feel instantly connected with them. And your guards are dropped, your phones are away, and it's just a great time to get to know someone because there's nothing distracting you, and there's really a genuine conversations happening in the space.
Yeah, that's amazing. I really do get that sense of connection from Othership, both with the app and with the in-person location. And you guys have only been open for what is it, like a couple weeks, a month now, but it seems like so much community has already happened within it.
I think a lot of that comes from our garage space or studio space. We were able to really build up a base community. And so when we opened the second flagship location, we really had, the right people that we wanted to foster this community. And
Mhm.
And absolutely, once people come through the space, sometimes what happens is they love it. They have this incredible experience. They've met incredible people, and they just want to share that experience. So whether it's sharing with social or inviting 5 of their friends, and so you really are seeing these grassroots community expand, and then it just keeps going and going, and people just seem to love it, and they love the experience, and it's just incredible, both mentally, physically, and socially.
Yeah, I think it's really cool that we can turn from what we've typically seen more of like socialization with like the bars and the restaurants is now becoming more of like a community without all of the other substances. And it's more like leaning on that community in other ways. And I think that's really, really amazing that you guys have created that. What do you think is the best part about having that community within Othership?
I think the best part about the community is just the genuine, I keep saying this, but it is the genuine connections with people.
Mhm.
You really, when you go to a bar or a restaurant, you're connecting with people for sure, but you're drinking alcohol, you're on your phones, and it's really like, especially a nightclub, you can't really even speak to someone. So it's
It's
kind of
true.
like coming to this space and you're having this intimate time with someone. And I think, one night at Othership is like meeting someone at a restaurant for maybe like 15 times. So it's like
Wow.
you really are super present. You're in the now. Your mind, your body are so relaxed. So you're just genuinely who you are,
Yeah.
and your guards are dropped. And so you're genuinely interested in what these other people are talking about, or if you're on another journey, whatever it is. So you're just really not distracted. And so the people that are there, they really are there presently in their minds and obviously their bodies.
Yeah, that's amazing. And it is such a vulnerable space to be in, especially working with your body like that in the cold therapy. So on that note, I would love to kind of turn into more of talking about the benefits of cold therapy and hot therapy and everything you want to talk about on that.
So we'll start off with the cold. A lot of people don't understand the cold. They don't understand the why. So when you go into an ice bath, especially at 3 degrees, you have a natural forming chemical in your body called norepinephrine. Norepinephrine is responsible for mood, vigilance, attention, energy. And so you have this shift state of like, you just feel incredible. You're energized. Now, norepinephrine has some very interesting side effects. It's anti-inflammatory. So inflammation is the cause of 70, 80% of diseases out there. This is why you see a lot of athletes using ice baths. They're inflamed, they're doing these really intense workouts, and they really want to come into these ice baths, calm that down,
Hmm.
boosts your immune system. So obviously increasing your white blood cell count, and it releases cold shock proteins into your brain. So you're having these incredible physical benefits, and I actually don't know what you could have done for 2 minutes that has a better reaction physically. But what's happening mentally? You're going into 3 degree water, and your body's essentially going into a fight or flight response, right? And you're having this intense emotional reaction. You're saying to yourself, hey, I can't be here. I need to get out. And what we're asking you to do is really breathe into it and regulate your emotions and kind of create space between this emotion and a reaction. So you're having this crazy emotion, and can you breathe through it, observe it, and you actually can take this practice to other parts of your life. So anger, frustration, jealousy, a lot of these things come up every day, and a lot of people just instantly react to them. And so you're actually training your mind to become more resilient to emotions and to stressors around you. Breathe through it, create space. And over time, all these things dissipate. And so after 30, 45 seconds, the water actually, in a way, starts to feel warm. It starts to like almost like a blanket over you and get into your flow state. And so you're into meditative state. We like people to stay in for around 2 minutes is kind of the goal.
Hmm.
And yeah, and you pop out of there, you feel incredible. This norepinephrine is running through your body. You have this energy. It just feels like you just shed all these like a layer of stress, and your shoulders are dropped. It's incredible. And so that's essentially the cold. And the heat has its own properties. It's toxifying. It's really linked to longevity. There's a study out of University of Finland. They followed around 2,500 participants for 20 years. And they found that people that use saunas 4 to 7 times a week have profound health differences than people that don't use it. So all-cause mortality reduced by 40%, cardiovascular diseases reduced by 50%, Alzheimer's, dementia reduced by 65%. And so you're just having it feels great at the beginning. It kind of has the opposite effect of the cold. The cold is really uncomfortable at the beginning and actually kind of gets, in a sense, comfortable towards the end. You really kind of like it. And when the heat you feel great, you come into a sauna, oh, I'm sweating, but we also like you to push it a little bit. That's where we want to be, is to push into this uncomfortable state. And that's where you really feel these benefits. You have heat shock proteins that are released into your body. Again, this norepinephrine is released as well. And so this feel good reactions are happening physically. And then again, mentally, what is happening is towards the end of the sauna, it gets really stressing on your body. You start getting angry, you start having these emotions come up. And again, it's just about really breathing into that and regulating these emotions. And again, it's a form of hormesis. So it's making you stronger physically, mentally, and at Othership, you're doing it in a very social and fun way.
That's a really amazing and very interesting points that you've made. I think that a lot of times people are looking for really quick benefits when it comes to their health, and we often don't see that unless we are leaning more on the pharmaceutical side. When it comes to holistic and naturopathic medicine, it's kind of a little bit of a longer run with seeing those benefits. So it's incredible that cold therapy and hot therapy actually has like immediate effects that you're seeing. I think that we don't see that very often, but it's so true with both the physical and the mental release that you're getting from that. And we don't see that really with anything else. And on top of that, you're also integrating the breath work during these sessions. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. So we have during the classes, the instructors, some people do live breath work, some play from our guided app, and it's part of the programming for sure. But the app itself is more just a separate digital product. But
Right.
yeah, breathwork is definitely part of the programming. It's part of our culture and who we are. Yeah, for sure.
It's great that you can tap into all of those aspects. Do you find that people have been saying that mentally and physically they've seen benefits from their short time at Othership already?
Yeah, and I mean we've had also the garage space open for a couple of years before that, so we really have. I mean, just me personally, I started doing ice baths about 3 years ago when we
Hmm.
were testing the ice bath in my partner's backyard, and it's changed my life profoundly. I going through COVID, coming from the hospitality space is probably one of the most stressful times of my life. And
Yeah.
to deal with that, I actually used the ice baths. I would be having like very intense conversations in the middle of COVID, trying to deal and trying to navigate through these things. And again, everything was closed, and so
Hmm.
it was almost like a godsend that I could have access to this ice bath and this sauna, and it really allows me to regulate and get through these tough times. And so we're seeing people that are coming in. They're like, "Yeah, this is now part of my routine, my life now. This has changed my mood. It's changed my mood the next day. I come into work, I'm less stressed, I'm more energized. I'm less worried all the time." And so people really are feeling the benefits. It's spilling into their days, it's spilling into their weeks, it's spilling into their friendships and their relationships. And I think the more you do this, the more you realize how important it is to focus on it.
I completely agree. I've been doing cold and hot showers for a while now, so the contrast showers, and it's that immediate benefit. It's improved my anxiety, my depression, and I would recommend it to everyone if they could just take the time to work on their emotions while also, I think the physical aspect of it makes it a little bit easier to focus on those emotions because the emotions really do come up. It's that feeling of sitting in that cold, telling yourself, I can't do this anymore. This is too much. But with Othership, you actually have that community around you supporting you, just like you said. And that's a completely different aspect. And I think that strengthens your bond with the people around you because they're coaching you through these difficult times, these difficult emotions, which you don't see in a lot of places these days.
Yeah, I think you brought up a good point. It's we really make especially the ice bath accessible, and so
Mhm.
people they don't understand it. They're confused. There's no real options other than going maybe to a lake dip or
Yeah.
going to Nordique spa, but those pools are sitting around 8-9 degrees, so it's
Mhm.
really a different experience altogether.
Mhm.
And yeah, we've developed and perfected like how do we get people in, what to say to them, guiding them through, breathing them, doing some breath work before, and yeah, we put in thousands of people, and every one of these people say to me, I can't do this, I'm afraid of the cold, and then they do it and they just absolutely love it. Anyone can do it, just need to try.
Yeah, that's really incredible. I would love if you could touch on some of the classes that you offer at Othership, the specific ones that people can attend?
Yeah, so there's three types of classes within the actual classes category. So it's up, down, and all around. And so as you say, up is more energizing. It could be movement. It could be kind of like a little bit of a workout. There's going to be maybe really intense music, and like sometimes it's Rufus the Soul. Sometimes it's really a visualization, but it's really going to get you up. You're going to be feel energized. Down is going to be more meditative. Maybe it's some sound healing. Maybe it's breath work. It's really, again, there's not set schedules with this. It's more like this is the mood that you're going to go into. And then all around it could be something like I developed an all around class where it's the first part of it is more entertainment. We do towel waving, and so that moves the hot air around the room. We used to have ice balls infused with essential oils. We put those on the stove, and it creates this amazing smell. And we move that around the room, and we have Rufus the Soul playing. The second part of the class is a visualization. So I really kind of tone it down. We darken the lights. We do a visualization of something that you're working on in your life. And then the last part of the class is a guided breath work. And that would kind of incorporate a 15-minute, 20-minute sauna. We get out from there. You go into the ice bath and you get guided through that. And then what kind of typically happens is go back into the sauna and kind of close off the class. There might be some additional programming there. So that probably takes about 60 minutes. You have about 15 minutes to kind of like wind down. Maybe if you want to do another ice bath before you leave, that kind of thing. So the classes are 75 minutes. And those are kind of the breakdowns of what we're offering right now.
Those all sound like it's a whole experience, really. 75 minutes that you can get so much accomplished in that time. And then you also offer memberships as well for people to kind of go in on their own with other classes. Is that correct?
Yeah, so there's three types of offerings. So the classes which you spoke about, we kind of went into more of what's happening within those classes. Free flow is you have 75 minutes as well. And so you just have the space to yourself. There will be a guide there all the time, and they can guide you through. If it's your first time, they can also just leave you alone. And so if you want to come there, just your friend, you want to just have your own time, the space is yours to do with whatever you want, and people are there. But it's also social. Like, we're not asking people to like be quiet or anything like that. Only in the cold room when you're going through that intense experience. And then what we've found that's been really popular is we've launched socials. So on Friday, Saturday, we have 2-hour socials starting at 8:30, and every half hour you can kind of check in. And it's kind of a replacement for going out, to be honest. Like, there's a bar and restaurant. We have like really high upbeat music, house music. There's 2 guides there on there to guide people through the cold, to maintain the sauna. And it's really is, I've been there the last 3 weekends, and it's been incredible. And I think anybody's looking to go out and have a social experience that doesn't require, alcohol, I think this is a great option for them.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely need to come and check you guys out. It sounds like such an amazing experience, totally up my alley. I will definitely be taking some of my classmates with me because I know they'd be into that. The whole experience just sounds so unique, but just touching on what you just said, I think that even if you are used to going out to the bar on Fridays and Saturdays, I think this would be such an amazing experience for people to challenge themselves and do something different and see how they feel compared to how they feel after going out to the bar, to maybe find a replacement for that or kind of mix it and integrate it instead of going out all the time.
Yeah, and I mean, again, I come from the entertainment industry, and so I don't think it's binary to like you come here or go out. But I
Yeah.
think it's depending where you are in your life. If you're, if you like going out to nightclubs, and this is like, oh, I just don't want to do this 3 days in a row, and I want to, just see my friends. Though I think this is a great option. And also, if you just have this urge to go out and just connect with people, because I think especially with this pandemic, we've been locked down here for 2 years, and people just really haven't seen each other or haven't seen a lot of people in one room. And I think hopefully this is coming finally to an end here, but it's allowing people to really come out and to reconnect with people and do that, and like you said, like a healthy way.
Yeah, that's really great. It is a great point. It is a new form of social connection, and we've all been craving that connection the past 2 years. And I think that we really need to reconnect with the people in our lives that we haven't been able to in so long. We've been so used to sitting in our houses, especially here in Ontario. It's been a long time coming, and I don't think we've been able to see the people we enjoy being with as much as we would want to. And so I think to have that deeper connection after this is something really special that we can share.
Yeah, absolutely. I think for the timing and for where people are at, like people are really, I think there's a loneliness epidemic. And I think people are really struggling in a lot of ways and they don't really know how to deal with it. And so that kind of brought up another point is that, you're kind of working on your mental health and, in a fun and a cool way. It's just, you don't want to be like, oh, hey, I'm going out. It's, we really want to call it kind of term the mental fitness term
Mm.
and to provide a place where people can do that again in a fun way, in an accessible way.
Yeah. And it normalizes mental health and sharing that experience with other people because that is so important for us to have. And I think that we're starting to slowly move in that direction, but it's been something that as a society we've been really working towards because it was taboo for so long. But now I think we're kind of getting to that point where it's like we want to share that experience. Everyone is dealing with it, and the pandemic really brought that up. And now is the time for us to move towards that and just making it a more normalized experience so that we don't feel alone. And in those difficult times, it's so much easier to lean on someone. And I think community makes that so much easier.
Yeah, of course. I think community is huge. I believe, also like the phones are a huge problem. Like everyone's on their phone all the time. And so even coming to this space to put your phone down for 75 minutes and actually not look at it, it's
Mhm.
probably the only time you're doing that in a day, I think, really. And
Yeah.
so it's just nice. Your whole mind and your body's just finally is taking a break, and you're just kind of like allowing yourself to relax. So it hits on a few different levels, but most importantly, it's good for you in so many ways. So.
Yeah, and like when do we really even when we're with our friends, like we're still on our phones a lot of the time. It's so normal to just be on your phone. We're so used to when there's gaps in anything where we're bored, what do? We look at our phones. We can't sit with ourselves. And I think you can bring your friends into this and sit at Othership and experience the whole thing without even touching your phone and actually just being with each other. That's such a special and new form of connection that we're really moving into.
Yeah, exactly. And that was kind of the point is like we really enjoy what I think looking back, what I really enjoyed about the bathhouse is, I didn't have my phone. I was there for hours.
Mhm,
I was just so relaxed. And
mhm,
no matter what's going on in your life, after you do a hot cold, you're sitting in a tea room, you're having a tea with your buddy. It's just nothing really beats it in regards to what you're looking for in a reset. And that's what really inspired this new social experience is like, it's like we need to create more of this. It doesn't mean you can't drink, you can't go out to
mhm,
bars. I think that stuff is always going to be part of life, and it's
mhm,
also fun. I still do that,
mhm.
but it's more so finding a balance that
Yes.
makes your life and your makes you happy. Everyone now is searching for happiness and they're searching for connection. And I think we're built that way. We really are built. We're not built to sit in our rooms and isolate. We're really built to go out and meet people and connect and share experiences. And that's what people love to do. And so I think this is just a great spot for, an additional thing in your life that can help you in so many ways.
Such an amazing experience that you guys have started in Toronto. And I think that it's going to become really big and it's going to do some big things. And I think you guys should be really proud of everything that you've accomplished and what you're moving towards. I am really excited to come and check it out. Before we finish, I would love to ask you a couple final questions, if that's okay with you.
Yeah.
All right. So, everybody who comes on the podcast, I'm asking them this one question because I think our morning routines are a really big part of our day and our mental well being throughout the day. So, I'd love for you to tell us what your ideal morning routine that helps you have like the best mental health day is.
Yeah, for me, I think routines I've done in the past where I've kind of had these really complex routines and they feel amazing, but they're just not sustainable. And so I really focus on kind of like two or three things. For me, waking up relatively early, I wake up around 7:30 and I just don't look at my phone for 45 minutes. That's the biggest thing for me because I really just want to wake up. I really like to relish in that feeling of like you get up, looking outside, the sunshine is there. You really don't have any new information to stress you out.
Yes.
And I do, yeah, and it's really important that you can wake up and allow your mind to settle a little bit. And then I do a 5 minute breath work, usually from our app. And then I really make sure the first input is like a positive. And so I just kind of think about three things that I'm grateful for, and I write that down. And it's very simple. None of that's really hard to do, but it's just super sustainable. And I found that that really is something that's, changed my mood and the direction of my entire day.
That's a really great morning routine. And I think it's a great point of making it simple and sustainable. I don't think that morning routines have to be anything crazy long, anything like 2 hours, or you don't have to wake up at 4 a.m. to get your morning routine started. But I think the phone one, that's a big point I've been trying to make on the podcast too, is when you wake up and you look right at your phone, it does cause like that spike in cortisol. It starts your day off on the wrong foot when we're intaking information that we can't control. So that's a really good morning routine. I do like that. And then the next question, what makes you feel inspired or like your best self?
I think for me, just kind of being on the Othership theme, it's when I'm watching people go through these experiences in this place I've created, and they're just telling me how amazing they feel, or they had this crazy, amazing experience. I've led classes where people come up to me and said, like, Myles, like, you made me cry. Like, I don't even know why I was crying. And so those really inspire me to keep doing this. And it's like, being an entrepreneur and building businesses, what I've realized is if you're not really into what you're doing, you really are going to give up. It's really hard. It's hard to build businesses. It's hard to pivot. The story of going through COVID from the bathhouse to this was one of the most difficult pivots of my life. And it was really challenging. And so I don't think I could have gotten through it without these stories and people coming up to me and saying, hey, like, I love this product. Like, you have to build this. And so for me, that keeps me going and that inspires me to keep going.
Amazing. What is the biggest takeaway you hope that the listeners learn today?
I think the biggest takeaway is to not be afraid of the cold. I think there's this negativity around it, or there's this uncomfortableness, and I think just allowing yourself to really surrender to it and try it. And so the takeaway is just come, try it once. I can guarantee you 100% that you will feel absolutely incredible and you will not regret it.
One last question. Where can the listeners find you online, including where to find Othership and all the information they need to be able to take part in Othership?
Yeah, so our website is othership.us, and just click on the physical side of it if you're looking for the hot and cold space. And if you're looking for the guided breathwork app, you can see it in the URL. It's on the right. For me, I'm on LinkedIn, Myles Farmer, MYLES Farmer, and Instagram, same as just spelled like that.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to come on today and talk to the listeners about Othership. I know they're going to love it, and hopefully they go and have this amazing experience that you guys have built. It's really awesome, and I appreciate your time so much.
Thanks for having me. And of course, I need to have you buy the space. You got to do it.
Awesome.
Thanks, Kirsten.
Thank you, Myles, so much for that amazing interview. And thank you guys for tuning into today's episode. I know your time is precious, and I appreciate every time you choose to spend it listening to me as well as my guests. If you want to see more of me, you can head to my Instagram and the podcast Instagram, which will be linked below. And you can see a little bit more about me, naturopathic medicine, and anything else going on in the podcast. Once again, I want to thank you guys for coming, and I cannot wait for you guys to let me know what you thought about this podcast. So make sure you leave a rating, you subscribe to this podcast, and you send us a message if you have any feedback or have anything to say about the podcast. So make sure you go follow Othership and Myles on Instagram, check out their website, and definitely check out their in-person location. I am so excited to be back in Toronto and to be able to get to experience Othership in the near future. And I know you guys are going to love it too. It is such a new social experience, and you really do need to get in on that. So check them out, and I can't wait to hear your guys' experiences. Tag me if you do end up going, tag Othership. It's going to be a lot of fun. So thanks again, and I can't wait to talk to you guys in the next episode. Bye.